class on relationships in ministry that I had with you. And do you think this is extremely practical? And I think you'll find it to be very helpful in getting along with other people in ministry. So, with that said, let's begin with a word of prayer. And the chapter that you're in, did you guys know you're going to memorize the entire chapter? And the chapter that you're going to memorize, Romans chapter 12, I love this verse, 18. If it be possible, and you're going to learn how it's going to be possible. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live, anyone know? Peaceably with
all men.
No, it doesn't say that. It says with your friends.
Right.
No, it doesn't say that. With your family. No, it says with what? All men. Yeah. If it be possible, and you're going to learn how to make it possible in here. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. We sure need that in our world today on how to get along. Let's go to the Lord in prayer, and then we'll start the syllabus, the fun stuff. Father, thank you for each student in here. I pray that this will be a life-changing class. As I look around at these students, they're to some level practicing most of what we're going to learn, but Lord, all of them need to go farther with it, and some of the things they have never even practiced. So Lord, I pray in the name of Christ that the Holy Spirit would guide us in relationships, and that everything we talk about and say comes through that biblical filter. I thank you for that. I sense, Lord, that your hand is on every one of these students, and just knowing them and seeing them in action, Lord, right now, just thinking about the students that are in here, you're going to use them mightily. And Lord, their relationships that they build with their team, with their church staff, with those around them that are working together with them, is going to be so important. And Lord, many of them are going to be leaders. And so they're going to have to model the things that they hear. So Lord, may they have receptive hearts. I have no idea why they are in this room right now. It is an elective class. But I would think it's for them to be better laborers in the harvest with the other laborers. So Lord, I pray that we just dedicate the semester to you. If we have today and you come back tomorrow, may we know that we were in your will by being in West Wing 201 today. Father, we dedicate today to you. May they understand the syllabus. May I be clear in my instructions of the syllabus. And may they not be overwhelmed, but actually excited about the projects and the testing and all of that. There might be just a real clarity of what they're expected to do in this class. And we pray these things in Jesus' name. And God's relators said, Amen. Amen. You're relators. Peacemakers, I should call you. All right, let's look at our course description real quickly. And then I'm going to have Brother Bundy come up after I go through just a couple things, okay? Course description. This course will instruct the student in practical and biblical ways to live peaceably with all men. Steps will be given to equip saints to fulfill the Lord's joy, that ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. And if you've never thought of this before, that is the verse for four-part harmony. Any of you sing? Any of you sing? Okay. You ever been in a group where you've had the four-part harmony? Did you see that? The four-part harmony there? And be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. Four-part harmony in ministry. Furthermore, the student will be able to understand in a relational way what it means to have the mind of Christ, because that ends that Philippians 2:5 there. In the trenches of ministry,
Interpersonal relationships with fellow laborers are, everyone together,
Imperative.
imperative. This isn't an option. In fact, I think of almost all the classes I teach that are not required, this would be the one class I think should be a required class. Because you have to learn how to get along with the laborers that you're going to be working with. And can I tell you something? They won't be like you. They will not be like you. And you got to learn how to get along with them. This class will give principles of communication, correction, and compassion that will make a difference in their calling, in your calling. If teamwork makes the dream work, then this class is the how-to on the teamwork. And I really think that's a great little line for the course description. If teamwork makes the dream work, this class is how to be a good team player and how to be on the team. Let's go to our course objectives. Number one of our objectives is give instruction on how to forgive and reconcile with fellow workers. Wednesdays, I think Wednesday may be the most important class of the entire term in here. Because I think everything hinges on learning how to forgive. And if you can learn how to forgive, you can relate with anybody. And the understanding of how to forgive is what you've been forgiven of. And so we'll talk about forgiveness probably the whole class period on Wednesday, and I think it might be the whole class for the whole term. Yes? If I come Wednesday, can I forget the rest? No, you got to keep coming, because there's other stuff, but that'll be a big help to you. Number two, teach how to accept and identify others' personalities. We're going to look at the Taylor-Johnson temperament analysis. You're going to love that. And spiritual gifts. How many of you taken my youth philosophy class? Okay, a nice number of you have. I do the same lecture on spiritual gifts, but it's important. But what we do in this class is the Taylor-Johnson temperament. Has anyone here ever taken a Taylor-Johnson temperament analysis? And okay, because Cooper works for me, and you guys are dorm students, so you took those. Okay, and that is a great help in understanding yourself and understanding somebody else that you're going to take the test with. Number three, prepare the laborer in how to biblically correct someone and then receive biblical correction. Boy, that's where the rubber meets the road with your fellow laborers in ministries. When you got to correct someone or somebody has to correct you, and what happens at that point? You may have a stronger relationship, or there everything begins to tear down. So that's a big one. Number four, share the principles of seeing fellow laborers reach their potential through mentoring and encouragement. I think you'll love the lectures that'll go on that. And those four objectives are going to cover like 14 lectures. So there's a lot there. Hey, let's look at our course requirements. Number one, Romans 12 memory verses. There will be a memory verse quiz nearly every class from Romans 12. The scheduled dates are on the following pages. I think you can look over and look at that. But it's okay, we'll get to that in just a minute. You will, and I'm going to tell you, well, we're going to talk about it in a minute, but there's no chapter in the Bible on relationships like Romans 12. Romans 12 is the signature passage on interpersonal relations. There's some good ones. Ephesians 4 is knocking the door on that one, but there's nothing like Romans 12. The Wilds has a devotional guide every year, and they go on a rotation basis. They do one of their entire summers, all of their campers for their devotions just goes through Romans 12 on how to relate to other people. It really is the greatest chapter in the Bible on interpersonal relationships. Number two, your first project is you're going to memorize Romans 12. Because of Canvas, you guys it's going to be easier for you than any class I've ever taught. Because of Canvas, all you're going to have to do is then fill in the blanks on your verses. But Irene, I expect you still to memorize that all, right, Sonny? Whether there's words there or not, you got it, right? Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, no, you're gonna have it, man, it's gonna be good. But it's gonna be a little easier for you guys on Canvas than I've ever taught the class before, because all you're gonna have to do is fill in the blanks. I'll give some words. There'll be many though, you guys gotta know them. All right, let's go to the Taylor Johnson. Does anyone have a question on the verses? We memorized Romans 12, that's it, let's go to number 2. Taylor Johnson Temperament Analysis Project. Part 1, you will do a personality test on yourself as well as one other person. You will be charged, do we charge that 15?
Yeah, you automatically get charged $15, I believe is what it says, on your student account, just like that when you enroll in this class. And that's because those temperament analysis actually cost quite a bit of money.
They do.
To
And
use.
the grading of them costs an enormous amount of money, but we grade them within house. Otherwise, like if you took that and you bought this thing offline, it's about $65 a test, just to grade them, let alone the materials themselves. But we grade them in house. We kind of do the grading free for you, so that's just the cost of the materials. That booklet is really expensive. But anyways, so you will be charged, which apparently you already have been then, to your college bill for the materials of this Taylor Johnson Temperament Analysis Project that he is providing. Please write on the handout, but not on the booklet. No more than 7 mids are allowed on the test. Okay, all right, let's get out your Taylor Johnson Temperament Analysis for a moment. Now, apparently we don't have enough for everyone. Who did not get one of the booklets? 2. We got 2 that did not get one of the booklets. Okay. We may have to share a little bit, but I want you to all look at the booklet, and I want you to open up. Can you share your booklet with her right now? What is your name? Jessica, if you'd share with Jackie for a moment. And Reese, would you just for this one? Thank you, Reese. We just share. All right. Pick out any number. Just open it up and, oh, you know what? Let's go 42. Just go to 42. And I need, what is your name in the back? I forgot.
Jacob Michael.
Jacob, would you read number 42? But here's what I want you to do, Jacob, when you read this. Where you see the ... I want you to put your name in that, okay? So go ahead and read number 42.
Does Jacob Michael have a wide range of interests?
Does Jacob Michael have a wide range of interests? Do you, Jacob Michael? Or would you say, it's pretty narrow?
Yes.
Okay, then you would mark on your Scantron a plus. You would mark that. Now, let's all look at the Scantron for a moment, boys and girls, because I have problems with this all the time. We put a stencil on top of your Scantron to grade it. Are you with me? If you do not color in the proper oval, the proper square, whatever you want to call that, when we put the stencil on, it doesn't show. So make sure you are covering your answer properly, filling in your answer. Are you all with me? I know you're going, Brother Scheller, we got this. Well, then why haven't my other classes done it right? Okay, there's always some that they're like way off, and the stencil comes down, and you go like, oh, that's not mine. Make sure you're filling in the block itself. Because when that stencil goes down on it to grade it, it is imperative that your answer is recorded. Are you with me? If the answer was negative, you would fill in the blank or the negative side. If you go like, yeah, that's not me at all. That's not me at all. You put the negative. Are you with me? Now there's something in the middle. It's called mid. What does that mean, Aaron?
It's in between.
Yeah, it's like, sometimes I am Dr. Scheller and sometimes I'm not. I mean, I really can go either way on that one. Okay, you can put a mid, but no more than how many? 7. Cannot have more than 7. If you don't do that, the test will, you must do that for the test to be accurate. Are you with me? You've got to have no more than 7. Now, this is the coolest thing about the test, Cooper. You ready? This is the coolest thing. I have done now, I cracked it last semester doing a few premarital. I have now cracked doing over 1,000 of these tests. I have gone over, graded, whatever, over 1,000 now. Let me tell you something. The most important part of this test is what is called the raw attitude score. What's it called?
Raw attitude score.
Let me tell you what that is. That's how honest you were when you took the test. We're a lie detector thing here? Yep. It's called the raw attitude score. It will tell me how honest you were about yourself. So guys, don't be too hard on yourself. And there are students that are just killing themselves. They're just like, oh no, yeah, I don't do, oh no, yeah, no. No, don't be too hard on yourself. But don't be too easy on yourself. It will show me if you answered like you were trying to please somebody. It does. I've done 1,000 of these guys. The raw and well, I wonder what questions those are. You can't, you don't know. You are not going to find out what questions are. I think this is one of those raw attitude scores. No, you're never going to figure it out. And I tell you, it's a good test. This is used, #1 test used by large corporations. Now, it is done by a secular source. So some of those things we would look at differently because we have a biblical worldview of some things. So like in the area of compassion, it sometimes doesn't come out like the way that a Christian, because it's not that Christians aren't compassionate. We look at poverty and welfare a little different in some of the questions. It's okay though. It'll be fine, and I'll explain all of that when we grade it. So everything will be cool. So no more than how many mid-scores?
7.
Or it won't have the honesty that I need you. Just take it the way you are. Just be honest about yourself. Now, Brother Sean, you're really going over these instructions pretty emphatically. Yes, because there's a reason. You're going to have to give everything I've just said to somebody else. Because somebody else is going to take this test. Because you're going to see how you get along with that individual. Could it be a roommate? Absolutely. Could it be like my best friend? Yes, I don't care. It's okay. Could it be someone like I'm dating? Yes. I think that could be very interesting. Matter of fact, maybe break up a relationship or something. But that's okay. But no, you can do whatever you want. That person has to be on campus because you got to get them the booklet as soon as you get done taking yours, okay? I don't care who you do. It really doesn't matter. I will tell you, the best person would be someone you work with, would be really good. And you say, well, Dr. Chandler, I work off campus. Well, I'll tell you what, I have no problem with that. If someone off campus wants to do, if you got a job and you work somewhere and you're working with somebody, that could be a really cool thing. Chances are you're just going to do your friends or the person you're dating or whatever, and that's all right. But I will encourage you to, if you pick somebody else that you're having relationships with, maybe, again, in a work relationship would be fit the class the best, but I'm not making any mandatory things on that, okay? So then they got to do it, and you got to give the same instructions that I just gave. And what's the biggest instruction that I just gave, Josh, that you've got to give to the person that's taking it?
No more than 7 minutes.
That's right. And you got to tell them, listen now, there's a raw attitude score in this thing. Just be honest. Don't be easy on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. Just answer the questions over there, okay? And Dan, what you're going to do, look what you're going to do. So then part number 2. So after the Taylor-Johnson temperament analysis test has been graded, write a short synopsis of observations. Now listen to this, where your relationship with that person would be strong. Man, we complement each other well. Or we're the same in this area and it's a good area. And then where there would be struggles in the ministry. Are you with me? This is going to take this is such a good project for you guys because, okay guys, I don't give Taylor-Johnson temperamental relation, whatever these tests are. I don't give this to everybody, but I got to tell you what, in my mind, every person that I come in contact with that I'm going to be with for any length of time, in any kind of relationship, I go through these 9 areas in my mind. Okay, here's my strengths. I can tell where she's strong in. I can tell where he's strong. I can tell that, okay, so there's 4 things we're going to look at. I love doing this for premarital counseling. So there's 4 things we're gonna look at. We're gonna look at where both of you are the same. That's good. We're gonna look at where both of you are the same. That's not so good. Does that make sense? Do you know people that are the same, the way you are, stubborn, and there's like, you're butting heads all the time? Sure. But then do you know somebody that's the same like you are in a certain area of communication, and you guys have an incredible relationship because of that? Okay, so there's gonna be areas that you're gonna be the same with somebody that's gonna be good, and it's gonna be bad. Then, we're gonna look at where you're the opposites. And it's good. You guys really come. Okay, so you're like this, but they're like this. What a great, that's probably why God brought that person to the ministry and you to the ministry, because you complement each other so well. Are you with me? Where you're opposites, that's good. But then we're gonna look at where you're opposites, that's not so good. Like, whoa. I mean, they're night and day, and they mix like water and oil, you know? They really do. So, in a marriage, when I do premarital counseling, this is the way I handle that. I said, have you guys ever heard of the phrase, birds of a feather? Well, you couple, you came together because birds of a feather flock together. Have you ever heard this phrase, opposites?
Attract.
Okay, Doctor, so what is it? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. If you're in a, by the way, I look around, a lot of you are in committed relationships in here. Is that not a true statement in your relationship? Birds of a feather flocked it together, didn't they? Opposites attracted, didn't they? You know, isn't that, and it's like, yeah, how does that work? But then, the understanding of how to get along with one another, ooh, that's big time stuff. Okay? So I'm just, it's a great project. It really is. And it's one that, this is what you start doing in college. You're not going to work with somebody in a church and say, hey, can you take this Taylor Johnson temperament analysis? No, you're not going to do that. But you're going to remember the project that you did, and you're going to go like, oh yeah, expressive, inhibited, oh yeah, indifferent, compassionate, oh yeah, high hostile, high tolerant, oh yeah, high methodical or disciplined, and high impetuous, or whatever, subjective, or whatever. So anyways, that's kind of it. Okay, I see some hands going up. Jacob Michael.
So we're giving the other person the test and they're taking it on their own?
Yes.
Okay.
And then they get it back to you, and then you get it back to me, and then I grade it, and then, we didn't bring a graph with us, did we? And it's okay. Then I will put it on a graph for you, and you'll see these 9 areas that are opposite areas, like expressive inhibited, nervous calm. What do you think I went on that? And, and my wife is calm. And I'm high, intense, apprehensive. And my wife's really like, take it easy, Jim, we're okay. That's a good, birds of a feather didn't flock together. But opposites attracted, and it's been good with that. I needed that. Yeah. Go ahead, Cooper, what do you got?
Are we gonna get an extra sheet of paper, like an extra,
I'm gonna grab more, bring them here for you to give at the end of class, yeah.
Okay, okay.
I wanna get to.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Does it matter pen or pencil?
Does it matter what?
Pen or pencil, sometimes tests like
Oh,
that matter.
very good. I recommend pencil, but I wouldn't make anything. I'm not gonna find a pencil. So use a pen. But just make sure you color in that little spot. And I know I'm making a big deal of that, but when you put the stencil down, and it's like, uh-oh, did they mark that or didn't mark that? It really makes a big difference.
So you're saying we need to fill in this little rectangle right here with just the
Yeah, your answer will be under that plus or minus or mid in each one of those rectangles. You'll color that rectangle in very powerfully, very fully. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on Taylor Johnson temperament analysis? I know Brother Bunny's like, can I get out of here? No, not yet. Christian Service Relationship Project. Are you ready? Due March 8th. That's pretty late in the term, guys, and there's a reason for that. Write at least one page on how you related to a fellow laborer, I don't care if the person you went out soul winning with, anyone they worked at the nursery with, or just somebody you did something, you cleaned the room together, I guess, I don't know. Fellow laborer using the lecture notes on 2 of the following areas in Christian service or extension ministry. Now listen, instead of me going through that whole list, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. You've got to take 2 of the lectures that I'm going to give, and you got to give you got to write a situation of how you used 2 of the lectures in a relationship with another individual. Are you with me? So it might be the one on forgiveness. It usually is. It might be the one on the 4 statements of peacemaker. It might be the one on being an encourager. I put this later, obviously, in the semester because you haven't gotten all the lecture notes. Matter of fact, by the time you hand this in, there will still be a couple more lectures. But that's okay. There'll be enough lectures for you to apply with a relationship with someone else. Now, that one cannot be a person you're dating. This has got to be just somebody else that you have a relationship. Again, it's great if it could be someone you're working with and you can apply the lecture notes. It cannot be someone you're dating. Number 4. Yeah, where did I go? Number 4. Oh, this is a really good book. Reading Build Up One Another by Gene Gibbs. It's a 1,000-word paper, and it answers the following things. What is the analogy behind the words one another? The book goes into that. Why is a one another philosophy so important in ministry? What 3 one anoters did you need the most and why? All right, by the way, you guys know, so give me some of the one anoters in the New Testament.
Love one another.
Love one another.
Be kind to
For
one
this,
another.
okay. What?
Be kind one to another.
Be kind one to another.
Forgiving one another.
What?
Forgiving.
Forgiving one another.
Bear one another's burdens.
Bear one another's burdens. Pray ye one for another. Admonishing one another. There's just a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them. The book is really good about the one another's, which is so much about what this class is about. Okay, Brother Bundy, you getting ready? This is your time, isn't it? Come on up.
Okay. All right, so first of all,
Hi,
I'm gonna ask you-
Andrea. Everyone say hi to Andrea.
Hi. So first of all, I want to ask, is there anyone in here who has not got the email and accepted the course invitation?
Not, right?
Yeah, not. Okay, so as soon as I'm done up here, I'm going to go to the back, right outside the door, come out with me real quick, and I'm going to invite you and make sure you guys get accepted in the course. So you need to be accepting the course to view the syllabus, have the notes, and really do most of this class. So as soon as I'm done, come out with me and I'll get you guys situated and you guys come right back to class. And those of you who are on Canvas right now, the first thing you should see is the modules tab. On the modules tab, week 1, that's this week, you'll see the syllabus, you'll see the notes. You'll need the syllabus to kind of go through everything Dr. Shetler's gone through already, to remind you if you didn't take very good notes just now. It's all on there, everything he just went through. And then the notes you, of course, will need. We just updated those notes, so if you've downloaded them before, delete that and download the ones we just updated just a little bit today. And open that up and then save a copy on your phone, your computer, and then you'll be able to edit that and use it as your notes for this class. As far as projects go, projects are all on the modules tab, as well as the syllabus. You can see when they're due. Make sure you submit those through Canvas and every email project. That's pretty much the norm now. You submit every project through Canvas. And really look at those due dates. I've had a lot of problems this past year with students saying, oh, I forgot to submit this project. Really look at those due dates, make a calendar, and really be diligent. Because in the real world, you have deadlines, and it's a big deal when you miss a deadline. So it's a good time to start now in college and get those things under control. Tests are going to be uploaded regularly. He'll announce it in class. We'll have it up on Canvas. You'll have 48 hours, 2 days to go on there and take the 15, 20-minute test. Almost every class period, we are going to have a verse test. That verse test he mentioned earlier in Romans 12 is going to count as your attendance for this class. We didn't have one today. We're not counting attendance for today. But next week, this next class, you guys are going to have a verse test, so make sure you get those verses ready. And once they're all submitted, I'll see who submitted it, grade them, and that'll count as your attendance for every class period. So it's gonna be bad to miss a class because you'll miss attendance as well as the first test. So keep track of those every week. Don't think, oh, there's probably not a verse test this week. There probably is. I think there's today and then like the last little class period are the only two we don't have a verse test. So it's pretty broken up pretty well.
And we did that so it'd make it easier for you. I think it comes out to about 2 verses every time.
Yeah. So bronze X test, attendance. And a thing to note on tests, there's going to be a lot of fill in the blanks in every class we have. You guys are going to misspell something. Something's going to be different. You're going to miss one that you should have gotten right. Don't email me right away. I'd like for you guys to wait a week until after you took the test if it still hasn't been corrected. I go through, or my work studies go through and look at every single wrong answer and see if it was just a simple error and correct those. And it's just a burden when I have a lot of emails coming in that I'm already going to be doing, and I've got to go through those. So stay away from that. But after a week, do email me, because it might be something we missed after a week. As far as the temperament analysis tests go, I'm going to come back in just a little bit and give Dr. Shetler it. So at the end of class, come up to the front. He's going to pass out each of you an extra one, so you guys will have 2 for that. And when you submit those back, please staple your 2 together.
Oh, yeah.
And that'll help us out a lot, because we're going to need to compare your 2.
Okay. The worst thing that's ever happened in this class is that you or your other person didn't put their name on it. Well, you try to figure that one out. And if we were to have 3 of those, okay, now we're in a total mess. Matter of fact, I would put your name on it right now. I'm telling you, it's that big a deal. We have had them come back without the names on it. Your partner that you do this with has got to put their name on it. And by the way, not just first name. Did you know there's a few students here that have the same first name? Okay, so please, please, please make sure that you get their names on. I'm sorry, but that has been one of the most frustrating things, even more than not doing the stenciling right.
Yeah. So do staple it together. That way, if it was like me and Jen, my wife, it would be Tim Bundy, and then on the second page, you have Jennifer. You know, that way, he's going to make one graph for 2 people,
Yes.
so that you can see the contrast and compare on one graph. And so we need to know what the 2 coupled together
Now,
are.
the
and
graph will be
stapling it.
2 highlight colors, like
Yeah.
maybe green and pink, or something like that. And one will represent you and the other will represent the other person, so you can see each other the way you would relate. Just got to have your names on it.
Okay, so that's pretty much all I have. Is there any questions to anything I just talked about? Yes, ma'am.
So both of the tests are due on the 27th?
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head. Let's see. Yeah, you will do the personality test. Yes, those will be due January 27th, so that's coming up real quick.
What's the date today?
25th.
Oh,
Yeah, so we got that.
well, I don't
going.
know.
You want to put
Well,
that
they
down?
could get theirs done. I'm not sure they're gonna be able to get their friends done by then. We put that right away. I wanted it right away so that we can grade them. You guys see you can get your person to do it in 2 days?
Yes, sir.
It would really, it does make the difference in the grade. Let's stick with the 27th on that. And then you have a verse test.
Now, those of you who don't have booklets yet, we should probably give them an extra class
Yeah,
period.
yeah.
So when you guys come back next period, there's only 2 of you. You guys are going to turn in your books as well as the graphs. We're going to immediately give those 2 books to you 2, okay? So that you guys will have it due the following Monday, but only the 2 of you. So make sure you guys come back and bring your books back. Don't lose those books. Those are expensive. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay. I'm good.
I read it, what do you got?
Is the book, the 1,000-word book report or whatever thing due the 3rd, like next week?
Yep.
Yeah. You did them pretty quick, yeah.
I wanted that. That was the one thing I learned from last semester, that we waited too long on projects. I'd rather have you guys, and you guys are more pumped, you got more energy. No, that's a really good point, that your book report's due next Monday. But then that means let's get these things out of the way. Let's get them out. And but the Taylor Johnson temperament, that's nothing. Now you gotta memorize it. I mean, you're gonna enjoy that. We'll take about 40 minutes to probably do the test. But that's just a fun thing to do there. You do have 2 verses you gotta memorize, and then you have the book report. Let's get the book report done. Let's get it out of the way.
All right. I think
Easier
that's
said
all
than
of
done,
us.
I know. Well, so then you
wanted to do it at the last, and you're all going, oh, we gotta put more, we gotta put more. Yes,
Are we
ma'am.
filling out the top left portion?
I think all you guys need is your name, honestly. We never really have people fill out everything.
That you
all that
can't fill
info.
out, that, those are the grades. Yeah, all you can do is.
Yeah,
You
so
can't
you're
fill out the
gonna
left.
see a whole lot of blanks up there. Just put in your name, honestly. We don't need
Yeah,
your
you don't
address,
do
phone number,
anything
all
on that left part, don't you put anything on there.
Can you do a test with somebody in the class that you want to do? Like, this
You know, what, you guys dating?
Yeah.
You really wanna do this, huh? This could be, you know, you be sitting in two different places
Oh, wow.
after Wednesday.
Is that sitting
I
right?
don't care, you know what,
I'm
I
not
don't
thinking this
care.
good. It's not to fill the
It's
class.
such a great project to get to know that, I don't know.
All right, anyone else?
I'm happy.
You know, the problem with that one's gonna be though, is the observations. Well, not the problem, it's gonna be very interesting, where you will think you get along with her and your weaknesses, and then it may get pretty personal. You make it through this class, you probably make it through the real life.
All right, so the two of you who haven't been invited or accepted the course yet, come out with me real quick. I'll get you guys taken care of. And other than that,
Okay, everyone, Romans chapter 12. Everyone, Romans chapter 12, and our lecture number 1. Lecture number 1 is relationships and ministry, getting along with others. And I just put down Romans 12, 1 through 21. I have a complete alliterated outline of the entire chapter that I think might help you. And we're going to go through this a little bit. You say, now, Brother Shep, what do we know about Romans? What do we know about the book of Romans? Everybody, anyone. What do we know about the book of Romans? Yes.
Paul wrote it.
Okay, Paul. Well, actually, the Holy Spirit did, but Paul was the instrument. Okay, wrote it to the church of Rome. Okay, had he ever been there before? No, which is interesting now. So he's going to give an outline of how to get along with people that he has never met before. That tells you these are principles that will work anywhere at any time. It's not like he handcrafted, I know you, church at Rome. These are just like, think about that for a minute. That's actually a really good point. In other words, it's like, I'm giving you Romans 12 to get along with anybody. Hey, you got people like this in the church at Rome, and isn't it cool, 2,000 years later, this is who's in our church too, you know, and the kind of people that we deal with. All right, what else do we know about the book of Romans? What about some divisions? What about some key words? Yes. Now, there's about 3 of you in here. I don't know your first name, and you are one.
Josh.
Josh. Okay, Josh, give me something about Romans, Josh.
The first 3 chapters are about the hypocrite, the Hebrew, and the
Heathen.
heathen, yeah.
Never heard that outline before, but when you said it, I think it starts with the heathen actually, then
Yeah.
goes to the hypocrite, and then goes to the... Okay, very good. That's a cool item. What else do we know about Romans? Yeah.
You think in Romans Road?
You think of Romans Road? Very good. Okay, what else?
Law and grace.
Okay, I'm glad you read that. Law and grace. Okay, very doctrinal book, correct?
Yeah.
Very doctrinal. By the way, incredible passage about very national book too. What nation? The Jew. I think maybe the greatest passage in the New, well, you got the book of Hebrews, but talk about address to the Jews, Romans 9, 10, and 11, okay? So you have this entire doctrinal book. By the way, what's the key word in the book of Romans? Anyone know? Key book in the word. This will tell, this is the most, if you're going to study the book of Romans, you've got to know this word. Because wherever this word is, it's the key to understanding the book.
See?
I say Romans, you say
Therefore.
therefore.
Who?
Therefore.
And who?
Did you not know that?
No.
Therefore is the key to the book.
And who?
Wherever therefore is mentioned, that is just concluded, and now we go to the next stage. Can anyone give me some therefores in Romans?
I beseech you, therefore,
You
brethren.
can hold up on that one. Can you give me the first 7? Can you give me any of the first 7 therefores? That's the one I want to hold on to.
Being justified.
Therefore,
Have to say.
there is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Christ. Therefore, being justified by faith, therefore, Romans 3:28, therefore, just tell you this, the key to the book of Romans is therefore. Because what he does is he gives this legal treatise, he gives all of these things about the hypocrite and the heathen and all that stuff, and then he says, therefore. This is going to be the concluding statement of this. Now, I think the biggest therefore in the entire book is Romans 12, 1 and 2. Because here's what you have. You have 11 chapters of what God has done for man. I beseech ye, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God. 11 chapters of what God has done for you. Now I come alongside of you and I implore you, I incite you, I paraclete you, I comfort you. Man, after everything I've written, what God has done, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove that which is good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Okay, now listen. You say, gosh, I'm sorry, but do we need to memorize those two verses? Absolutely. Yeah, but that really doesn't have to do with interpersonal relationships. That's where it all starts. Until we get the vertical relationship, we will always struggle with horizontal relationships. I actually think Romans 12, 1 and 2 isn't, you know what? If you presented your body a living sacrifice and your mind is being transformed, you're probably doing okay in your room. But if you have not surrendered your life to the Lord yet, you're probably struggling with other people. You probably get offended a lot. No, listen, guys, Romans 12, 1 and 2 is a vertical relationship. But once we get that and we've surrendered our will to God, I got to tell you what, the horizontal will follow. Are you with me on that? Okay, obviously we can't spend that much time on each one of those. But, be that as it may, there we go. Surrender. So number one, surrender to Christ. Number two, let's see if you can figure this one out. Look at verse 3. For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as God hath dealt to every man the measure of faith. Now, I think there's a couple different words you could say here, but sober about your... Well, your what?
Condition?
Your condition? Okay, I like that word. That's not the word I used. Think, look at your verse that you're looking at. Sober about your... Your what?
Potential.
Sober about your potential. Kind of like that. Importance. You need to be pretty... Don't think of yourself more highly than you ought to. Okay? You're not the key to everything here. You're not the center of everything. I know you think you're pretty important, but let's be sober about your importance. That will make a big difference in the way you relate to others. Because if you think you're more important than somebody else, you're going to have relational problems in ministry. If you think others are more important than you, esteeming others more highly than yourself, you're going to get along with people a lot better. Okay? So, number one, surrender to Christ. Number two, sober about your importance. Let's go on. Satisfied with everyone's, verse 4 through 8. Raise your hand as soon as you think you know the answer. 4. Oh, I cannot do this. I cannot read with this shield. For as we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office, so we, being many, are one body in Christ, and every one members one of another. Having then gifts, differing according to the grace that is given to us. Whether prophecy, let us prophesy according to the proportion of faith. Or ministry, let us wait on other ministering. Or he that teacheth, on teaching. Or he that exhorteth, on exhortation. He that giveth, let him do it with simplicity. He that ruleth, with diligence. He that showeth mercy, with cheerfulness. Let's see if we can figure it out. Satisfied with everyone's...
Spiritual gifts.
Spiritual gifts. I just gave the word gifts. Yeah, but it would be actually a better statement would be spiritual gifts, but there's just one blank there. Satisfied with everyone's gifts, sober about your importance, surrendered to Christ. Number 4. Sincere. What's the word sincere mean?
Genuine.
Genuine, excellent, authentic, good. Sincere with your, look at verse number 9. Let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil, cleave to that which is good. Okay, sincere with your love. I put down the word affections, but love's a good word. Love's a very good. Be sincere with your affections. Number 5, submissive to, look at verse 10. Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love, in honor, preferring one another. And look at verse 16. Be of the same mind one toward another, mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate, and be not wise in your own conceits. Okay, be submissive to others, yep. Number 6, servant in your, let's see if anyone gets this one. Not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. A servant in your
Spirit.
Cooper?
Ministry?
That's really close. Maybe a better word than mine. Responsibilities. Hey, everyone, as soon as you write that down, I want everyone to look at me. I mean this. I do not exaggerate what I'm about to tell you. You know how you can get along with people in the church staff? You want to know how to get along with everyone at the Christian school? Do your job. Just do your job. Just